Hello, and welcome to part 17 of the Elite Force 2 commentary. Now, Krindo actually brought us back to life after we got killed.
Just sew the head back on.
Your hazard team has been captured, and now you're my hostage. If your captain won't trade you for Clea, you'll die.
Apparently a different thing happens if you hit the first one, but I didn't bother, so.
We don't trade hostages.
Then you can die.
Where's my team?
I'd care more about myself right now.
That's another difference between us.
I care about my
arm was
race.
keeping.
Just not your father.
What are you talking about?
He's on Taravar 7. Stop the attack now, or you'll kill him with the rest of the planet.
He'd never go to Taravar 7.
Too bad we can't contact your father through the electrical storm. You'll have to come to the Enterprise to learn the truth.
Ah, but we can. Our comm system is linked to a cloaked communications array in orbit. I'll contact his communicator, but he won't answer because he's not on Taravar 7.
He didn't blink at all during that conversation.
Krindo, is that you?
Father?
Please stop.
Womp womp.
Please spare this planet, I beg you. If you won't stop the killing for the Atrexians, will you stop for me?
But we've won.
They're just outside this room. I can hear them. Chewing.
Oh, no. No!
Goodbye, son. Please, forgive me.
No, wait. I'll stop. I'll stop them.
Son?
Send the stop signal.
I did. My exomorph commands don't work.
Make them work.
Oh, it's probably because I blew them all up. Sorry.
Why don't you stop?
Let me out, I'll help you. The exomorphs have now turned against you.
I don't understand.
Let me out of here, or they'll get you too.
I don't deserve to live.
I don't get why his TV is like a 4x3 TV and this is the future. But every other screen in there is like a widescreen.
The killing. Now take down this force field, and I'll get
Nice
us out.
detail that he removed his communicator.
I didn't even notice.
Oh, is it back now?
Tell your troops to keep my team.
Oh, they gave it back once.
What was that?
And have them prepare one
Crap
of
my
their
bed.
shuttles.
I'm going to set the manual destroy.
Well, he had his communicator off.
You must get out of the facility immediately.
No, you're coming with me. I don't want to see anyone else die.
You must go ahead. This is the only way to destroy the facility. Don't worry about me. I will meet up with you at the lift to the surface. Now go.
So essentially Krindo is now no longer evil.
Yeah. Nobody dies in Star Trek.
Lame.
The only person that dies are like Dashiyar and Dax.
Friendly ghosts.
Wouldn't spoil anything there. Dashiyar dies?
You know, Star Trek, those series you're talking about, are pretty old. I mean, I agree with not wanting to know spoilers. I don't want to know spoilers,
He was
but
moonwalking.
yeah. But at this point, whoops, a little late for that. Yeah, you had to go onto the left side. If you're wondering, well, why did I mess that up the first time? I forgot. So
I'm really wondering why he kept it in.
Because shut up. There's really much no. You're pretty much going to be fighting nothing but rammers. Throughout this whole ordeal.
What kind of door opens like that so you can get your leg in first?
I don't know.
Like, boom, ow.
There's no time limit. Like, even though the place is blowing up, you can go here at your own leisure. But
It's like the worst self-destruct ever.
you're just trying to get out of here. That's really it. You're trying to meet up with Krindo, who's trying to completely get this working. So yeah, now you can't go back. It's the area behind you blew up.
That force field I feel was important for something.
Really for people to make sure they don't fall out.
Well, I mean...
Yeah, pretty boring. So, since there's really not much to talk about, how about we talk about something that is pretty recent, and by recent, I mean extremely recent. Eric, how'd you feel about Star Trek Into Darkness?
It was awesome.
Okay,
Oh, you wanted me to carry that
well,
conversation?
there's really not much to talk about here, so I might as well talk about something that's related to
I
Star Trek.
really liked it. I like what they did, and I don't want to spoil it.
Oh no, don't spoil it.
But
That's not fair.
you know, a lot of people keep forgetting that the new movies are, you know, they're like, you know, they ruined my Kirk, or that's not how my crew was as I was growing up. But you know, it's about them starting off, and they're not going to be the characters that we know and love. They're still turning into those characters. And I feel like in this movie, you really see Kirk go from that young, naive character who has this like godlike mindset that he thinks that he's untouchable. He has a macho, invulnerable kind of mindset, and he starts to realize that others will get hurt even if he doesn't, because he's the captain. He's in command. People will follow his orders, and they may die from it. So you get to see him kind of go from that young Kirk into the Kirk that we know that William Shatner portrayed. It was really cool to see that. And there's some moments where he, you know, Chris Pine, he really got down the character. He makes the same kind of smirk, and he has the same kind of motions and all that stuff. It's pretty cool. I really liked it.
Yeah. Well, you can't always. I mean, hardcore people are nice, but you really can't go by them because here's the thing: hardcore people don't like change. I know hardcore don't like to say that.
People
but
argue though, like, you know, they're altering the timeline. There's
like,
the episode though called Parallels with Worf, where Data actually says for every possible action there exists a universe where, you know, say that you had a path or a fork in the road, there exists a universe where you went left, where you went right, or where you went back, where you just kind of died there. This universe is one of those parallels. You know, instead of the Kelvin just kind of patrolling, it blew up.
it's a reboot, and I don't think people should get up in arm with that. The whole point of a reboot is to try something new because the other things have been done. I mean, there's nothing wrong. There's no one saying the old way was bad. I mean, people can criticize. I mean, I criticize the old way a lot. I'm not gonna talk about that. But my point here is, the old is there. It's never gonna go away. No one's replacing it. This is something a lot of people believe that the new movies are doing. They're not doing that. They're trying to put a new take on the series that's never been done, and beforehand it was considered risky for the kind of genre it was. And now they're trying it with these new movies, and it's working.
Well, I mean, how often can you say Star Trek was the #1 movie in the country?
Here's the thing. I personally believe it's good to try and fail than play it safe and have something boring, which is something that if they had made the new Star Trek films like the old ones, would have been exactly like that. And that's something a lot of people criticize a lot of gaming companies. Even I'm starting to do it. I'm starting to criticize gaming companies that it doesn't mean I don't enjoy. You know, it doesn't mean I can't enjoy those that don't try anything new. But at the same time, you have to give more credit to those that do try something new. And in my opinion, that's my only criticism towards Star Trek Into Darkness. It was really good, but what I just said kind of applies to that, and I won't go into detail why, because that would be completely spoiling the movie, but it's definitely worth seeing. I really, it's a lot of fun, and it'll make you laugh.
People just have to remember.
I guess Eric and I are just a little more open-minded about things. You know, sometimes people can be too one way or one the other way, but we just look for something that's good, and you know, Eric and I aren't the kind of people that kind of disregard old as, oh yeah, that's old and crap. We don't really do that.
Well, no, I prefer the original series.
We like adding. We personally like things that add.
Well, see, I love the original series, the charm of it and like the imagination of it. And this new movie, while it's, you know, it does have more action than like Next Generation. You know, I feel like a lot of people got used to like Next Generation's pacing and forgot that the old show, you know, if you watch like Arena, that or Doomsday Machine or Balance of Terror, those were pretty much hour-long space battles that were, you know, entertaining. They were fun.
Sorry to interrupt you here, but this little mini boss battle against the Stalker, it's easy to person cloaks. You just have to shoot them. You can find them really easily because they make pretty much a shadow and they can see through them real quick, and you just kill them. they're not threatening at all. I mean, we will encounter more than once, so we can also bring them up again. But yeah. But to get back to what the point we were talking about beforehand, I never understood the new movie has too much action, because as we watched the old series, the whole series was meant to be an action series, and I'm not saying that to be like, what, are you serious kind of thing. It was. The reason why we brush it off is because it was so bad and corny that people just remember the good parts, which is the parts where they're standing around and talking. But if you think about most of the episodes, they have some sort of fight scene in them. They do. I mean, the whole point with Kirk can do military training. He can fight against people on the ship. Somehow the villains get out randomly and they have to do a one-on-one fight. The reason why we don't really sit down and analyze this for a long time is because they're goofy. And they didn't have the budget to really do these kind of things.
I mean, well, a lot of people try to take away that, Gene Roddenberry was optimistic for a hopeful future, and at the same time he was fighting or portraying a future where the events that were happening at that time, racism and the whole segregating of the schools and suffrage or women's suffrage and the Cold War, those were all portrayed in Star Trek. They had Uhura, a black woman on the bridge who not only was working on the bridge, she had lines, she had a role, she had a character. That was new. And then Chekhov, a young Russian on the bridge of the Enterprise in the height of the Cold War. I mean, he was really trying to fight those. So people take that.
But that has nothing to do with whether or not it can be. You can
well,
still have
you gotta
an action
understand
series.
though. Even though if you're, the show was trying to unite humanity, but that doesn't make for a good show, a TV alone. You can't just have a show about like optimism and hope. You need to have action, adventure, and thrill.
Conflict.
Yeah, you need a challenge. You need your character or your heroes to overcome some kind of obstacle. Which is why the first two seasons of Next Generation weren't all that good, because nothing bad ever really happened. It was just kind of this Zen Nirvana timeline.
The irony there is that you bring up conflict, and look what we're dealing with. It's all conflict. People are getting killed in it.
The Ferengi? We've had dealings with him.
Yeah, we're essentially we did talk over a little bit, which is okay. I mean, there's no real issue with it. Alright, so Crindo essentially feels bad. I mean, I spoke over that. He's like, oops, I killed my dad. He essentially just told us that Ferengi essentially sold him the details of where the manufacturer places the key control center of how the exomorphs are working, because he turned down the machine and they're still going, so we're trying to stop it.
It's run by an old Klingon arms trader named Lurok.
Lieutenant, I want you to use Crindo to set a trap for Omag. Take Ensign Gonzalez to assist you.
So yes, we're going to be going to a Klingon
You're gonna call
star
Omag
base,
from your
essentially,
Why?
He'll be suspicious if you call from a Federation
run down
frequency.
piece of shit.
I'll need to repair my shuttle's comm system.
Picard to Lieutenant Barclay. Meet Crindo and Lieutenant Monroe in Shuttle Bay 2 and help Crindo repair his long-range communication system.
That is such a long and drawn-out line. It is.
Do what now?
How is Clea?
She's doing well, all things considered. She's adjusting to life on the Enterprise.
Also, her dad was just murdered. Dick.
Alright, right here you actually have three options. You can either stand by and watch Berkeley and Crindo...
Barkley. Or Broccoli, as Picard would call him.
Berkeley and Crindo repair... What? Barkley. What did I keep saying?
You say Berkeley.
Who's Berkeley?
School.
Right on
I
time.
think.
Crindo, can you help me with this positional stabilizer?
I have a newer one.
I am
in
your
my
enemy.
spare Parts.
Monroe, this may take...
Yeah, they let him walk
I'll
around.
let you know when-
Whatever. Alright, so you can either stand around here, go in there, and just watch them repair. They'll talk. I don't do that route.
Monroe,
Go ahead.
will you please come by?
Clea will ask you to meet up with her. That's another option. And you're like, okay, might as well do that. Or you'll get this call.
Alex?
What is it, Telsia?
Hey, find me later. Maybe we can talk.
So you essentially have three options. Now, what's interesting is that the game actually doesn't give you the choice of just standing there. You can actually just figure that out on its own. So the person I decided to go to is Telsia.
Damn right, she's got 5 fingers.
What?
The other girl only has 4.
I forgot she had 3 fingers. The reason I go with Telsia is that, the first game that kind of I didn't know this was here. I just wanted to show it off.
What, a cargo bay?
Yeah.
Congratulations, the Enterprise can store things.
One, the first game hinted at it, so I might as well follow through on it. And two, who gives a shit about Kaylee? I mean, not Kaylee. Whoops, wrong character.
Oh my god,
Clea.
did you just go
No.
To Firefly?
Firefly is great. Okay?
Listen,
it's
I love Kaylee.
Shut up. So we're gonna tell you, and here's the problem why I don't really like Kaylee's character. Oh, did I say it again?
Yes. Don't you know what you're talking about?
Clea.
What's wrong with Kaylee's character? Tell me.
Shut up. I like Kaylee.
Yeah.
Alright.
Whatever.
Clea. The problem I have with Clea is that she's clearly in the game as a choice of how your romance will happen, and that's all the impact she has, because there's only one cutscene which happens later, and that's it.
Come on, Chris, the Enterprise. It's not a maze.
And we'll catch you all in part 18.